According to the World Health Organization, an estimated 1.7 billion people still lack access to clean water, and 2.3 billion people suffer from waterborne diseases each year. While the demand for water is on the rise, the supply is shrinking. Water-intensive agriculture, population growth, industrial pollution, and other ecological threats are depleting freshwater supplies. This is an issue that cannot be ignored any longer. Water is needed for the survival of all life on Earth.
Because water is such an important resource, we decided to research water issues in Oaxaca, Mexico last August during our senior capstone through Portland State. Our group consisted of 5 people.
Andre Drotenko is a management and leadership major and Spanish minor student at Portland State. His desire to be immersed in Mexican culture and observe another way of life while practicing his Spanish is what drew him to travel to Oaxaca.
Bailey Gauthier is an arts and letters major at Portland State. As a former dancer, she traveled all over the world, and having taught dance and performed in Guatemala, she was inspired to learn more about Latin American culture and the Spanish language.
Whitney Church is a social work major at Portland State. Her desire to serve people and observe the social environment in Oaxaca is why she enrolled in this capstone. Her knowledge of first aid proved to be very helpful on our trip.
Mayan Avni is a glass artist living in Seattle. She went to Oaxaca to gain more insight on alternative medicine in Mexico. She also used this as an opportunity to practice her Spanish.
Lisa Mearsman is a community development major at Portland State. She works for Food and Water Watch as a campus coordinator for Take Back the Tap campaign and believes that water sustainability is a very important issue that should be recognized by everyone.
As a group, we focused on gaining information about where the people of Oaxaca get their water, whether or not they experience shortages, how they protect their water, and what challenges they face around water. In order to gather this information while we were there, we visited several environmental and community outreach organizations to explore the ways in which people deal with social and environmental issues in Oaxaca.
We heard from various organizations and interviewed a few people on the streets of Coaximaloyas, a small town in Oaxaca. Here's what we found out.
Acá se llama el Ojo de Agua. Está a 1 kilómetro del pueblo allá. Con bomba. Con bomba. Lo sube. Lo sube.
Para regresar a la ciudad.
Sí, lo sube.
Sí.
Porque el agua está abajo. Con bomba.
Sí.
Con esa energía de la luz.
Sí.
Se lo lleva ahí a los almacenes, se llama.
¿Hay temporadas cuando hay escasez de agua?
No hay escasez, no hay.
¿Café al agua? No. ¿Casi no?
No. ¿Aquí no?
No. Aquí, como aquí aquí nace el agua. No se escasea.
No, para ustedes siempre está bastante agua.
Sí, para nosotros.
Para Coaximaloyas. ¿Dónde llevamos?
¿Cómo se cuida el agua?
Son veneros que nacen así. Están haciendo, y está tapado con losas, ¿ves? Y ahí dan tubo. Ya caen en los almacenes. Y ahí está la bomba sumergida adentro. Y con esta energía, pues la luz, con eso trabaja la bomba y ya lo manda allá la loma.
No tirarla mucho,
Lavar con poca agua.
lavar la ropa con poca agua. ¿Sí? No lavar
¿Tienen
no lavar.
sistema pluvial?
No.
¿No en este pueblo? No.
¿Qué es el desafío más grande con el agua?
No hay desafío, no hay. No hay, estamos bien,
Sí.
No hace falta.
Okay.
Ujú.
Muchas gracias.
¿Esto?
Sí.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Whitney.
Will.
Whitney.
¿Y
¿Y
usted?
tú?
Daniel.
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 El ojo de agua. El ojo de agua.
O sea, donde filtra el agua, donde sale pues el agua.
Donde nace el agua, es un manantial donde nace el agua.
Este es el,
Este es el más grande.
El más
¿Es el
grande.
más grande?
Sí, es el más grande.
Y ese surte todo el pueblo.
Ujú.
Y es el que surte todo el pueblo, el ojo de agua. Sí.
Unas tuberías.
Unas tuberías. De ahí viene el agua que consume todo el pueblo.
In the city, if you ask children where water comes from, they will say from the faucet or from the storage tank or from the truck, because we use a lot of trucks to distribute water. They don't know where water comes from, and even worse, they don't mind. So we have to change that. And different programs. We have a newsletter. We have a radio program. We have what we call a horizontal exchange, which means let's see what one community is doing and what we can learn from it. We have exchange with the different university programs here in Mexico and also in the States, basically. There's many different tools, but basically with the idea of we need to change the relationship, and we consider considering water as a social issue. It's not only a natural or engineering thing, it's a social thing.
A common theme found in the interviews that you just heard is that in Coahuila-Loyes, the water is pumped to the town from a stream that starts at the source. It is pumped from below through a solar-powered pump. The town of Coahuila-Loyes does not experience water shortages or droughts, and the residents appear to be very knowledgeable about water and where it comes from. Because this was only a 2-week capstone course, we did not have the time to form any solid conclusions in our research. However, we were able to gain a better understanding of what water protection means to communities in other regions of the world.
Based on our findings, we found that Oaxaca is not presented with a water shortage problem, but rather a water management problem. We met with a community that is striving to reduce water contamination by attempting to embrace the usage of baños secos, or dry bathrooms, and organic dyes for fabric. Oaxaca does not have a water treatment facility to process all the wastewater generated by the ever-growing population.
In Oaxaca, we heard of many instances of water conservation and reuse. For example, a tub will be placed in the shower with the collected water being used to water the garden. While there is much more to be learned about water in Oaxaca and around the world, this is a small piece of information that we gathered during our environmental activism and community outreach capstone in Oaxaca, Mexico.